Right, Broome just hit 43 degrees while Melbourne S sitting at 14. That is a 29-degree difference across one country, and the weather pattern causing this split is about to shift in a way that'll impact your weekend plans. Is your area about to cop the tail end of a developing tropical low, or are you looking at record-breaking heat that'll make the fire danger absolutely critical? Currently, the Bureau of Meteorology has severe weather warnings active for parts of Western Australia, with a tropical cyclone watch likely for the Pilbara coast within the next 24 hours. We're talking about 3 million Australians potentially impacted by this evolving system. Over the next 12 minutes, I am going to break down exactly when your city gets hit, what Access and the European models are disagreeing about, and why tomorrow's forecast update is going to be absolutely crucial. Chuck your location in the comments right now, because I'll be doing personalised forecasts for your area in tomorrow's video. Let me give you the timing straight up. Sydney, rain arrives late Sunday, heaviest Monday morning, clearing by Tuesday arvo. Melbourne, dry through the weekend, then a cold front smashes through Monday night with damaging winds. Brisbane and the Gold Coast, scattered storms Saturday afternoon, some could be severe. Perth, you are looking at 40 degrees Saturday, 38 Sunday, then a dramatic cool change Monday. Adelaide S getting the worst of it, honestly, with extreme fire danger Saturday before a nasty wind change. Hobart stays relatively calm, low 20s through the weekend. Darwin, you are in the monsoon trough, so expect afternoon storms every day, 32 to 33 degrees with that oppressive humidity. Now, here's the thing. There's a tropical low sitting in the Coral Sea that's got the models in a bit of a disagreement, and this matters for everyone from Cairns down to the New South Wales North Coast. Access is showing this system intensifying and tracking southwest toward the Queensland coast, potentially developing into a Category 1 cyclone by Sunday, but the European model reckons it'll stay offshore and weaken as it moves south. That is a massive difference for Townsville, Mackay and the Whitsundays. We should have a much clearer picture by tomorrow morning model runs, so definitely check back. Let me talk about what happening in Western Australia, because this is where things get seriously interesting. There's a heat trough sitting right across the state, and it's been baking the interior for days now. Kalgoorlie hit 41 yesterday, Geraldton at 39 today, and Broome, as I mentioned, just touched 43. But here is what developing. There's a weak tropical low in the Indian Ocean about 500 kilometres northwest of Broome, and it is showing signs of organisation. Now, Access is indicating this could develop into a tropical cyclone within the next 48 to 72 hours. The track is still uncertain, but current guidance suggests it'll move southeast toward the Pilbara coast, possibly making landfall somewhere between Port Hedland and Karratha early next week. For you lot in Port Hedland, Karratha and Dampier, this means you need to be paying very close attention over the weekend. The Bureau will likely issue a tropical cyclone watch tomorrow, and we could be looking at a tropical cyclone warning by Sunday. I'll have detailed updates on the exact timing and intensity in tomorrow's video. Now, while the north is dealing with tropical systems, the south is facing a completely different problem. Southeast Australia is looking at extreme fire danger this weekend. South Australia, particularly the Adelaide Hills, Mid-North and York Peninsula, UV got a total fire ban Saturday. The fire danger rating is extreme. We're talking temperatures in the low 40s, humidity dropping to 10% and northwesterly winds gusting to 60 kilometres per hour. That is a recipe for catastrophic fire conditions if anything ignites. Victoria not much better. The Mallee, Wimmera and Northern Country districts are looking at very high to extreme fire danger Saturday. Bendigo, URE forecast for 38 degrees with those hot, dry northwesterlies. Shepparton, similar story, 39 degrees and critically low humidity. If you are planning any outdoor activities in fire-prone areas, seriously reconsider. This is not the day to be out in the bush. Hang on, let me clarify that. I should be more specific about the wind change. The cool change that LL moved through South Australia and Victoria on Saturday evening is going to be dramatic. We're talking about a 20-degree temperature drop in some locations within 2 hours. Adelaide, you will go from 41 at 3 p.m. to 22 by 7 p.m. That wind change is also going to swing the fire danger around. If there are any fires burning when that change hits, they'll change direction direction rapidly. This is the most dangerous time. For regional New South Wales, you caught in the middle of all this. Wagga Wagga, Albury and the southern inland areas will see temperatures in the mid to high 30s Saturday with increasing northwesterlies. Dubbo, Uary looking at 37. The fire danger is very high across much of the state. Then Sunday, a southerly buster moves up the coast. Newcastle, expect that cool change around midday Sunday. Coffs Harbour, you will get it late Sunday afternoon. The change brings cooler temps, but also the chance of showers and thunderstorms. Now, about that Coral Sea tropical low I mentioned earlier, let me give you more detail because this is where the uncertainty really kicks in. Currently, it's just a monsoon low sitting about 800 kilometres northeast of Cairns. Sea surface temperatures are 29 degrees, which is plenty warm enough for development. Wind shear is moderate, which is marginal for cyclone formation. Access is showing the shear decreasing over the weekend, which would allow the system to strengthen. Here, S, where it gets interesting. If access is right and this develops into a cyclone, the track takes it toward the North Queensland coast, possibly impacting Cairns, Port Douglas and the tablelands early next week. We'd be looking at heavy rainfall, coastal flooding and destructive winds. Cairns could see 200 to 300 millimetres over a couple of days. But if the European model is correct and it stays weak and offshore, you're looking at just enhanced showers and storms, maybe 50 to 100 mils. That's a huge difference. The thing is, we want to know which scenario is more likely until we see tomorrow S model runs. This is exactly why you need to check back tomorrow. The forecast could shift significantly in either direction. For those of you along the Queensland coast, from Townsville to Bundaberg, keep a close eye on bomb warnings. Things could escalate quickly at around the 8-minute mark now. If you haven't already dropped your city in the comments, do it now. I am going through these tomorrow and giving specific forecasts for your local area. Whether you're in Mount Gambier, Alice Springs, Devonport or Katherine, I want to give you the most accurate information for where you actually live. Let's talk about the southeast coastline because there's an east coast low developing next week that could bring significant rain to the ranges and coastal areas. This is separate from the tropical activity up north. There is a low pressure system forecast to develop in the Tasman Sea on Monday, then intensify as it moves south on Tuesday and Wednesday. The models are showing this could bring heavy rain to the Illawarra, Southern Highlands and southern tablelands of New South Wales. Wollongong, you could see 100 to 150 millimetres between Monday night and Wednesday morning. The escarpment could cop even more, potentially 200 mils or more. This would be excellent for water catchments, but could lead to flash flooding in catchment areas. Canberra, you're on the western edge of this system, so you'll see rain, but probably more like 30 to 50 millimetres. For Tasmania, you're in a relatively calm pattern this weekend, but things change early next week. A strong cold front associated with that east coast low will sweep across Bass Strait on Wednesday. Launceston, you are looking at rain developing Wednesday morning, becoming heavy at times. Devonport, similar timing. Hobart might stay a bit drier, but you will still see showers and a decent temperature drop. We could be talking about maximums struggling to reach 12 or 13 degrees by midweek, with snow down to around 1,000 metres on the Central Plateau. Now, one thing that got me a bit concerned is the compounding effects we are seeing across multiple regions. You've got extreme heat and fire danger in South Australia and Victoria on Saturday. You've got potential tropical cyclone development off Western Australia. You've got that Coral Sea low threatening Queensland, and you've got an East Coast low developing next week for New South Wales. That is 4 separate significant weather events all happening within a 5-day period. Actually, I should check that again. Looking at the pressure charts, there might be some connection between these systems. The deep trough that causing the heat across southern Australia is also influencing the tropical activity up north. As that trough shifts east over the weekend, it's going to help steer these systems. The interaction between the tropical moisture and the southern systems is what could make that east coast low particularly intense. Tomorrow's analysis will show whether these systems amplify each other or if they end up interfering with each other's development. Let me give you some more specific regional detail. For the Queensland interior, Toowoomba, you're looking at storms Saturday afternoon and evening. Some could be severe with large hail and damaging winds. The Darling Downs has enough instability and moisture for supercells to develop. Roma and Charleville, you are in the hot, dry air mass, mid to high 30s with no rain relief. Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast, your storm chances are Saturday arvo. The sea breeze will trigger convection along the ranges, then storms will drift toward the coast during the evening. Some could be heavy, but the severe threat is lower than inland areas. Just typical summer storm activity, really, but worth keeping an umbrella handy if you've got evening plans. Western Australia, beyond the tropical cyclone risk up north, Perth, you are in for a scorcher Saturday. 40 degrees forecast, possibly touching 41 in some suburbs. The Fremantle Doctor 1T provide much relief until late afternoon. Sunday is still hot, 38 degrees. Then Monday, a trough moves through, bringing a cool change. You will drop to 28 on Monday with a slight chance of a shower or storm as the trough passes. Bunbury and the southwest, similar pattern but a few degrees cooler. There's one detail about the Adelaide fire danger situation that I haven't mentioned yet, and it is important. The fuel load across the Adelaide Hills is extremely high after decent winter and spring rainfall. The grass is now cured and the vegetation is tinder dry. On top of the extreme fire danger rating Saturday, there's also the risk of lightning from dry storms ahead of the change. A lightning strike in those conditions could spark a major bushfire very quickly. The CFS will be on high alert. If you live in the hills, make sure your bushfire plan is ready to go. Around the 12-minute mark now, last call for comments. Drop your location below and I'll give you a detailed breakdown tomorrow. I am genuinely interested in what you are seeing in your local area and what concerns you have about the weekend weather. For the Northern Territory, Darwin, you in a typical wet season pattern. Afternoon and evening storms every day, heavy at times, 32 to 33 degrees with that 80 to 90% humidity that makes it feel like 40. It is just unpleasant, honestly. Alice Springs, you are in the dry air, 39 degrees Saturday, 40 on Sunday with basically zero rain chance. Catherine, you are in between, getting some storm activity but not as consistently as Darwin. The model comparison I mentioned earlier about the Coral Sea low, let me expand on that because it shows how uncertain forecasts can be beyond a few days. Access G is showing a developing cyclone tracking southwest. Access R shows similar development but a slightly different track, more westerly. GFS has the low developing but staying well offshore. ECMWF shows the weakest solution, with the low barely organising before wind shear tears it apart. When you see this much spread between models, it means the atmosphere is in a state where small changes in initial conditions lead to vastly different outcomes. A slight shift in the position of the monsoon trough, a change in upper level winds, or variations in sea surface temperature can completely alter the forecast. This is why we need to wait for tomorrow S model runs. As we get closer to the event, the models should start converging on one solution. Let me wrap this up. To recap the main points, Western Australia, watch for tropical cyclone development in the Indian Ocean with impacts possible along the Pilbara coast early next week. South Australia and Victoria, extreme fire danger Saturday with record heat, then a dramatic cool change Saturday evening. Queensland monitoring that Coral Sea tropical low with very different possible outcomes depending on whether it intensifies or not. New South Wales and East Coast low developing next week could bring heavy rain to the coast and ranges. Look, there's still a fair bit of uncertainty across all of these forecasts. The tropical systems especially could go either way. The fire danger is certain that S locked in for Saturday, but the timing of changes and the rainfall amounts later in the week are still subject to change. I'll have updated information tomorrow as the models come into better agreement. Here, S, what I need you to watch for tomorrow S video. I'll have the latest on whether that Coral Sea low is going to develop or fizzle out, with specific impacts for the Queensland coast. I'll have refined timing on the East Coast low for New South Wales, and I'll have an update on that Indian Ocean system and whether Western Australia is genuinely facing a cyclone threat or if it is going to stay weak and harmless. Seriously, drop your location in the comments. Whether you are in a capital city or a regional town, I want to give you specific information for your area. The Australian climate is so diverse that a national forecast doesn't really tell you what you need to know. What S happening in Broome has nothing to do with what S happening in Hobart, and you deserve details for where you actually are. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to stay informed about what's happening with Australia S weather. These next few days are going to be significant for multiple reasons, and I'll be here tomorrow morning with updated information as soon as the new model data comes through. Next video will be up by 9 a.m. Saturday, so check back then. Stay safe, especially if you're in those fire danger areas.